Anyway, there we go. Okay, guys, good morning to everyone. Welcome. Just going to fire up my timer so I know what I'm following. Perfect. All right. So, assume a kind of squat position. Okay, I'm going to go side on for this. But what we're going to do is we're just going to come down through a squat. Don't go too deep to start with. Just get your hands on the floor. Walk yourself out. From that walkout position, we're going to step 1 foot up towards the hand with the back leg out straight. Just hold that stretch for a few seconds. You can move around in that if you want to. Step that back, same up on the other side. And again, keep the back leg straight, but we can move around a little bit on that. Step back into that long plank. Then walk your hands back into that squat position and stand. Go again for me, so squat down so that your hands get to the floor. Walk yourself out into that press-up position. Step 1 foot up towards your hand. Once it gets there this time, keeping the back leg straight, take your inside hand nearest the foot off the floor. Reach through underneath the body. Turn and open. Bring the hand back down. Step and change sides. Hand off the floor, reach through underneath the body. Turning the torso towards that supporting arm. Then turn the torso towards the front knee. Hand down, step back, and then we push the hands back, keeping the hips nice and low, and come on out. Good, one more time. So I'm going to squat myself down, walk out. This time before we go, we want to go up into a down dog. Okay, pushing the floor away, pushing the heels down towards the floor, one at a time. Really pushing the floor away. Keep the knees slightly bent if you need to. Roll back through to the top of that press-up position. Step 1 foot up towards the hand, making sure that back knee straightens out. The hand that's nearest the front foot, bring it off the floor. Reach it underneath the body, turning the torso towards the supported arm. Then turn the torso towards the front knee. Good. Hand back down. Step it back, change sides. Same again. Reach underneath the body. Turn it open. Hand down. Step back. Nice and slowly. Back to the bottom of the squat. And up. Fantastic. Good. Take a little second. This time we're going to do exactly the same thing. So we're going to squat down. You should be getting a little bit further through your squat every time now. Walk yourself out into the press-up position. Hit one press-up with a rotation. Hand back down. And the same on the other side. Good. Walk yourself back. And up to stand. We go again. Nice and slowly squat down. Try to work all the way through the squat now if we can. Walk ourselves out. Same again, do one press up. Slow and controlled with a turn at the top. One more on the other side. And then from here, we're going to come down and drop our knees to the floor. So I'm down in my tabletop position now. Here. In that tabletop position, all I'm going to do is take 1 foot out perpendicular to the side of the body, and then I'm going to rock my hips backwards and forwards here. So in that side on position, guys, the legs out directly at the side of the body, and I sit my weight back towards my heels. Got my hands a little bit further forward now so I can rock my weight back and forth. Good, once I've done 5 or 6 on one side, I'm going to come back into that position, that 4-point position, and change the stance onto the other side. Trying to keep the toe of that outstretched leg pointing forwards rather than turning it out to the side. Very nice. Knees back under the body.
Now you can either stay in this position, and what we're going to do from here is we're going to keep a straight arm, and we're going to push the floor away and round the upper back for 10 reps. You can either stay in all fours, you can extend it out to a kneeling press up position, or you can come all the way up into a press up position. We just want 10 reps. Arms should stay straight all the time, core should stay nice and tight. Take your time working through those straight arm press ups. We just want to feel the scapular move there as much as we can. Once you finish your 10 reps, come to your feet, take a little drink, and I'll talk you through what we're going to do this morning. Okay. So you'll need a dumbbell or a kettlebell. I'm just going to grab mine this morning. We need a dumbbell today. Okay, we've got no swings, but kettlebell is absolutely fine. So what we're going to start with this morning is a little split stance RDL. Okay, RDL, Romanian deadlift, or a stiff leg deadlift. The word stiff leg is a bit of a misnomer, okay, because your leg isn't locked out in terms of stiffness. We always have a slight bend in the knee so we can target all of the hamstring. And how we're going to do it today is your feet are going to be a hip width apart. So they're going to be fairly narrow. And we're going to place one foot further forward with that front heel level with the line of the toes. Okay? So in the side on position, I'm going to step 1 foot forward and I'm going to have it heel and toe hip width apart. The weight is going to be in the opposite hand to the front foot. I'm going to lower the weight towards the floor, keeping my back nice and flat and keeping most of my body weight over my front leg. So my back leg is just there to support me. I can either keep the foot entirely flat, so I've got a bit more weight than my back leg, or I can come up and just very lightly kind of dab the floor with my foot so that it's just helping me stabilize. There's not a lot of weight sitting through it, okay? That's a bit more challenging. You'll feel more load through that front hamstring, okay? We're going to do 5 reps of that. After the 5th rep, so we'll stand the 5th rep up, then we'll come back down to a very similar position. You might want to extend the length of the step at this point because we're going to hit a single arm row for 5 reps. Okay? And then we're going to do exactly the same on the other side, where I'll then change my stance, go back to my heel to toe position. I'll hit 5 RDLs. I stand up tall between every RDL, making sure I'm squeezing the glutes on both sides. So I lower the weight down with the weight mostly over the front leg. Here, stand tall. Get my 5 reps, then I'll lengthen up my foot, do exactly the same kind of RDL, but then I'm going to stay down the bottom and then I'm going to hit 5 rows. Then we're going to rest. Okay? And we're going to look to do that probably every 90 seconds. Okay, we'll see how comfortably we can get through the first round. All right? Okay. So, let's get ourselves set up. We're going to start in 30 seconds. So remember, I'm going to go a split stance, hip width apart. The first split stance for the RDL, my heel is level with my toe. So my front heel is level with my back toe. And the weight is in the opposite hand to the front leg every time. There's no set depth of how low you go. It's always going to depend on your hamstring flexibility, okay? Ready, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Away we go. I'm going to lower down until I feel that front leg hamstring tighten up. Then I'm going to stand. You'll notice my lower back position. It stays flat all the time. So I'm bending at the hip, not through the lower back. 3 there. 4, and I'm making sure the weight isn't sitting back onto my back leg. I'm keeping the weight over my front leg. I've done 5. Then I'm going to extend the length of the step down to the bottom. I can now really feel the hamstring. 3, 4, 5 rows. I then stand tall. I'm going to change my stance, change the side the weight is on. Shortening my step back up. And then I RDL on the other side. Remember, I want the front leg feeling most of the load. My lower back stays nice and flat. So if my hamstrings tighten up as my hand gets to my knee, that's as far as I'll go. Once I've done 5, the next repetition is down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Once I finish, I can lower down to the floor. Good, guys. So we're going to go every 2 minutes. Okay? I did that nice and slow and controlled, so I'm happy to go every 2 minutes. If I rush through the reps, I could do it every 90, but I want to feel the tension in the posterior chain through my hamstrings. And the trick is, we want hamstring load and glute load and lat load. We will load the lower back slightly, but we don't want it to take the brunt of the work, okay? So if you're bending the knee a lot on the way down, it's going to go through your quad and your lower back much more. So we only want a slight bend in that working knee, okay? 3, 2, 1. So I've got my short split stance. And I lower down and stand. So if you notice my working leg, I'm going to split this away from the camera here, I'm not bending that knee, okay? I'm keeping the knee back. So I'm almost trying to keep my knees level. So the knee of my back leg, the supporting leg, is a little bit more bent. Okay, then I come down and I'm going to row. With the row, tucking the elbow in and pointing it up towards the ceiling and letting the shoulder round at the bottom but not my lower back. Keeping the weight through both feet on the row. So I shorten the stance for the RDL when I change sides. Load over the front leg. Think about squeezing the glute and the hip to stand. Lower back stays flat. Only go as low as your hamstring will let you. We don't want that lower back to round. I'm going to lengthen the stance from my row. Nice, good squeeze at the top, a little half-second squeeze at the top. Good stuff. That's 2 sets down. So remember, guys, hamstring and glute load is what we're looking for on the RDL, okay? So when I'm in this stance position, that front leg, you notice you can't see my other knee. If I bend that knee, you'll be able to see my back knee, okay? I'm trying to keep my knees level so that that load sits through my front leg. Ready? 3, 2, 1, away we go. So remember, you can keep both feet flat to the floor. That's completely fine. My hips are traveling backwards, but the weight is staying over my front foot. So I'm not drifting onto my back leg, okay? Once I've done my 5, making sure you squeeze the glutes when you stand, and then come down for my row. Got a slightly longer stance, and you'll notice that my shoulder is dropping towards the floor. That's completely fine. But I'm not letting my lower back round. Then I come up, change the weight side, change my stance, and away to go. So you can go to a bit more of a kickstand position, which is where we're just up on the ball of the foot. That pushes the weight much further over the front leg. And really trying to feel that length in the hamstring, and then actively pushing and squeezing my glutes forward to stand. I then lengthen my stance, so I've got room to row without the dumbbell or kettlebell hitting my front leg. And you can see that I'm letting my shoulder blade go at the bottom of the row. So I'm really getting a good stretch through my lat. But you'll notice that even though I round a little bit here, my lower back doesn't round at all, okay? Good. 30 seconds away from round number 4. My hamstrings are definitely lighting up now, and I'm because I'm consciously squeezing my glutes as I stand, I'm starting to feel it through the glute as well. And obviously my lats and mid-back are getting nice and warm from the row. We go again in 10 seconds. So I've got my solid split stance at hip width apart. 3, 2, 1, away we go. So I'm not letting that shoulder rotation happen quite so much on the RDL. So I'm using my back to stabilize, my upper back to stabilize. But I'm controlling the load on the way down and standing tall and squeezing the hips. And I'm going to lengthen that stance so I can row. You notice my elbow coming up behind my torso. And I'm going to lower the weight down. I'm going to change my stance, heel to toe. Weight in the opposite hand to the front leg. And I RDL. And like I said, posture doesn't change. I push the floor away and squeeze through the glute. Once I finish, I'm going to lengthen my stance, loading still mostly through the front leg. Trying to let the shoulder go without losing any back shape. Beautiful. Good stuff. 4 rounds done. 1 more. We often think when we feel hamstring tightness, it's because the hamstring isn't flexible enough. 9 times out of 10, the reason that the hamstring doesn't like length is because it's not strong enough to tolerate it. Okay, so this RDL is a fantastic exercise to build the length and strength to allow our hamstrings to tolerate more stretch. Okay, alrighty, last round. Here we go. 5, 4, find your split stance. Weight in the opposite hand to the front leg. Away we go. RDL first. Weight through the front foot. Back position doesn't change at all. I'm hinging from below my waistband, keeping the weight over the front leg, keeping my chest up. Once I finish my 5 reps, I'm going to change my stance slightly, lower back down, and hit my row. So again, I got lovely control of the dumbbell, allowing the shoulder to get pulled through and my shoulder blade to spread, but not to change my back position. And down, I'm going to change my stance, change the hand, heel to toe for my RDL on the other leg. I'm not bouncing out the bottom. I'm getting a little pause before I squeeze the glute to stand. Excellent. And then I'm going to change my stance for my last row. Everything's under control. Trying to maintain tension. I'm trying to link my body and brain to really focus on each contraction. Once I'm finished, I'm going to lower to the floor and take my rest. Excellent. So that's all about quality, guys, okay? We've got a lot of neuromuscular coordination to sort out there with how we control our knee position, how we control our pelvis, how we dissociate our pelvis from our lower back, and then how we stabilize through the upper body. There's a lot of plates to spin there. And then when we're in the row, it's exactly the same. Fixed lower body, a hinge at the pelvis, not through the lower back, and then trying to dissociate your shoulder and shoulder blade. There's a joint there. Trying to now dissociate that from the rest of the spine. So there's quite a bit to juggle there, but if we can, things like hamstring health, hip health, lower back health, shoulder and neck health, all are improved through the strength that we're developing, okay? So they're really neat exercises to focus and master. All right, good. Okay, we've got a little bit of an extended break now where I'm going to show you what we're doing for the next bit. So we've got a core exercise to start with, a bear stance weight maneuver. If you've got a slightly lighter dumbbell than you've just been using, I would suggest using it for this next one, okay? We keep the others handy because we've got a floor press in there as well, okay? So we're starting in bear stance, and we are doing 30 seconds of each movement here with a quick little bit of transition time, okay? So, how it's going to work is bear stance with the weight starting outside. And we're going to triangle the movement back to where it is and then reverse it, okay? So, I'm starting with the weight outside. With the same arm, I'm going to move it up and in front, and then going to bring it out to the side of the triangle, and then going to move it across and underneath. Then I'm going to reverse that triangle. So I'm going to pull it back from underneath, up and in front, down to the side, and back under, and then change. And we're going to keep that going for 30 seconds. We're then going to have a quick 10 or 15 second transition time into a single arm floor press. Okay, both feet on the floor, and 30 seconds of just constant movement in that press. After that 30 seconds, there's no transition time here. We're just going to bring the feet up, and we're going to dead bug with the weight on that one side. We're then going to have a very short transition to shift over and repeat that on the left side. Okay? So we've got 5 exercises in total. We've got the drag in the bear crawl position. We've then got a floor press, a dead bug, switch hands, floor press, and a dead bug. All right, and we're going to rest a minute between rounds. We're going to try and keep the transition time from the bear crawl to the floor press as short as possible. Okay? All right. 10 seconds away. So let's get the weight set up. Here we go. Bear crawl position. 3, 2, 1. Away we go. So I take that weight up and in front, bring it down to the other side, and I draw it underneath. I then draw it back, up and in front, out the other side, down and underneath. If you forget which way you're going, don't worry about it. Less than 10 seconds to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We sit down. Well, we've got a little bit of transition time here. Get yourselves ready. We go in 3, 2, 1. Single arm press. Keeping the lower back flat to the floor. Ten seconds to go. From this, we're into the dead bug on the same side, okay? Remember with the dead bug, 3, 2, 1, the lower back stays flat to the floor, and we extend the leg out only as far as I can keep the lower back flat to the floor. Oh, that chest and shoulder should really be starting to feel the load now. 10 seconds. Three, 2, 1. Time there. We switch straight over and go. Good. Good. Keep that going, guys. We change in 3, 2, 1 into our final dead bug. Lower back stays flat to the floor. Actively pushing that weight towards the ceiling, keeping that wrist over the shoulder. Getting a good isometric contraction through the chest. 5 seconds away now. Keep the core nice and tight. 3, 2, 1. That's time there. Good job. One round done. Catch a drink if you need it. You've got a bit of time to get off the floor and grab a drink. So remember, we're in that bear crawl. Because we're moving the weight around, we might need a slightly wider base of support. Okay? What I mean by that is it's creating a bit more of a triangle rather than a square. Okay? With our stance. So take your feet a little bit wider so that when we're in one hand position and trying to move a weight around, we can shift to have the hand through the middle of a wider base as I'm moving that weight around. Okay? 30 seconds to go, guys. And remember that we're trying to limit how much our hips sway side to side. We don't want to have our body position dictated by what we're trying to do. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Away we go. So we're starting with the drag this time. I'm going to bring it up and in front, bring it back down, and back under. Once it's back to where I started, I'm going to change, drag, up, down, and across. Good. Up and in front, down, across. We're into the last 5 seconds now. 4, 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to sit down and turn myself over. Remember, we've got a bit of time. Get setting in position. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Away we go. Lower back flat to the floor. Using my feet to stabilize. Controlling, don't let the arm bounce at the bottom of the movement. Bringing the wrist over the shoulder at the very top. Not rushing at all, keeping that connection between your body and your brain in terms of what we're trying to contract and what we're trying to do. 3, 2, 1, straight up and into my dead bug. 30 seconds. Lower back stays flat to the floor. So I can either move one in, one out, or I can alternate to add a little bit of a challenge. 3, 2, 1, change sides. Getting ready to go again in 3, 2, 1. Away we go. Press on the other side. Good. Stay with it. Keep pressing. Under control. 3, 2, 1. We up and we change. Press in that weight towards the ceiling. Let's be active with that press. Good, stay with it, guys. Actively pushing that weight through towards the ceiling. Last 5 seconds now. 3, 2, 1. Safely lower the weight down to the floor. Good job. It's definitely warming the old chest up. So just remember the quality of what we're doing on the bear crawl, controlling the tempo on the press, and then making sure that my lower back is flat to the floor. When I'm doing my dead bugs, I'm moving my legs and only extending them out and straightening at the knee as far as my lower back will let me. What I mean by that is if you extend the leg too far and that lever is too long and your abdominals can't tolerate that load, your pelvis will tilt and you'll have an arch in your lower back. We don't want that, okay? All right, we don't want that. Good stuff. All right, one more round. And that'll be us for the day. 15 seconds away. So get the weight where you want it. Let's see how the chest gets through this final round. Down we go. Ready in 3, 2, 1. Away we go. Get the drag, then bring it up and in front. Back down. Drag through and then switch. Drag through, up and in front. Down and across, and then back the way it came. 3, 2, 1. Coming down, turning over. We'll be ready to go in about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for our floor press. So on my floor press, at the bottom, my wrist stays over my elbow, and then my wrist stays over my shoulder at the top. Stay in nice and tight to the core, so we don't roll to one side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep the weight locked out and into our dead race. Pressing my lower back into the floor, drawing my knee up nice and high. Keeping tension through your body all the time. Good, almost there. 3, 2, 1. Change that weight over now, and we go in 3, 2, 1 for our final press. But you only want a feather touch of the upper arm on the floor, so we don't lose tension. If I come down and rest too long, I lose that tension through my chest. I really want to think about my chest contracting and not me pushing through my shoulder. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Up, and last set of dead bugs. So let's get that coordination right of pushing the weight away, extending through each leg, and keeping the lower back into the floor. Excellent stuff, guys. Almost done. Stay with it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time. Slowly lower the weight down. Get it off the body. And that is us done there. Good job. Get your weight out the way safely. Excellent stuff, guys. So lots of what we call motor control in that session today, all right? Learning how to move our limbs and dissociate other areas of the body. So what we did to begin with and what we've just done with our dead bugs and that kind of stuff is learning how to stabilize and control the pelvis whilst we move our limbs, okay? Or areas that are upstream and downstream of that joint. And it's really important we learn how to have fluid movement whilst we're stabilizing in other areas. We don't want to be rigid everywhere, and we don't want to be loose and out of control everywhere. So it's important that we learn those things around how the hip works in relation to the pelvis and the lower back, and then also how what we call the shoulder girdle, so the collarbone and the scapula, the shoulder blade, how they work in relation to the shoulder. And if we can master those things of stability through movement, we gain more mobility, we gain more strength, we gain more range in the movement that we have, and we start to recruit muscles that get neglected through a lot of mindless type training or machine-based training. So it's really important that we master these things. So good job today. Okay, if you've got any questions about if you're doing this stuff on your own and you're not sure if you're doing it right, just take a short clip of the video, drop it to me in an email or on the Instagram channel. I'll take a look at it and we can talk you through it. If you want to do it live, that's also fine. All right, and I can take you through it whilst you're doing it. Not a problem at all. Good stuff, guys. Okay, Just 2 little stretches today. We're going to do a down dog and a child's pose, and that'll be us finished for the day, okay? So standing with feet hip width apart, stand up tall, reach tall, bend over into a standing fold with a slight bend of the knees. Bend the knees then as far as you need to get the hands flat. Step back into that long plank type press up position, and then up into a down dog, pushing the floor away with the arms looking through towards your feet, pushing the hips high to the ceiling, bending the knees as much as you need to get into a good long body position. And just push both knees down, both heels down towards the floor. And with 3 long, slow, controlled breaths here. One more time, deep breath in. And exhale, and then slowly drop the knees down and in towards the floor till we hit that tabletop position. Then take the knees out nice and wide, pull the toes together, sit your weight back through towards your heels, and slide the hands out in front. In that position, we want the hips to be as far away from the hands as possible, whilst not letting the hips come forwards, pushing the weight back through the heels. And just see if you're resting the head on the floor, to see if you can help get the chest through towards the floor, get a little bit of additional thoracic extension. And again, we want 3 big breaths here now. Deep breath in. You'll feel the body rise as the lungs fill. And exhale through pursed lips, like you're blowing through a straw. Same again, draw in through the nose. One more breath. Deep breath in through the nose and exhale through pursed lips. Nice and slowly walk the hands back in. And that's our Thursday morning workout complete.